Welcome to the deep dive. Imagine just typing a sentence, anything really, like a photorealistic cat riding a skateboard, or, I don't know, a cartoon sun explaining fusion, and bam, you get a video of it, instantly. Or maybe taking a photo, just a still image, and seeing it suddenly move, come alive. That's the world we're diving into today. AI video generation.
Yeah, it's a field that's moving incredibly fast, almost feels like light speed sometimes. It's really starting to change the game for content creation and, unsurprisingly, attracting a ton of investment buzz.
Absolutely. So we've gathered a whole stack of sources looking at this space. We're going to get into the core tech, the big players, where the money's actually going. Our mission today, cut through the noise, figure out what's really driving this, compare the main models, look at the market dynamics, the investment side, and tackle the big questions, the challenges, what might be next, basically help you get up to speed quickly on what matters here. Okay, ready to unpack this?
Let's do it. So at its core, AI video generation kind of boils down to two main paths, though honestly, they're blurring together more and more. You've got text-to-video, T2V, and image-to-video, I2V.
Okay, T2V seems pretty clear. Text in, video out. Simple enough. What about I2V?
I2V basically takes an image you already have, could be a photo, an illustration, whatever, and it adds motion, animates it. Think maybe making a product photo spin on a website or bringing a drawing to life for a social post.
Got it. So creating from scratch with words or animating something that exists, but you said they're converging. How so?
Exactly. A lot of the leading tools now are what we call multimodal. You can feed them text or an image or even sometimes an existing video clip. And the AI can generate something new based on that or tweak it or make it longer.
Right, makes sense. More flexible for creators. So what's the AI tech actually doing behind the scenes? What's the magic?
Well, the heavy lifting is done by really sophisticated AI models, mostly diffusion models and transformer networks. Diffusion models, you can kind of picture them starting with digital noise, like TV static. And then they gradually clean it up, step by step, guided by your prompt, until a clear video emerges. Transformers are brilliant at understanding language, context, relationships, super important for interpreting text prompts and keeping things, consistent.
Okay, so it's like sculpting from static, guided by the text. I've heard some specific terms thrown around, like space-time patches or latent diffusion. What are those about?
Yeah, good question. It can sound pretty technical. So OpenAI Sora, for instance, uses what they call a diffusion transformer, and it processes video by thinking about it in space-time patches. These aren't just pixels, but like small chunks of video that capture both space and time, what's there and how it's changing. Helps it simulate physics better.
Okay, so it's processing motion, not just static frames.
Exactly. Google's Veo 3, on the other hand, uses a latent diffusion model. Latent just means it's working in a kind of compressed, simpler representation of the data. It's often more efficient, computationally speaking, and it seems particularly good for handling different types of data together, which is key because Veo 3 is designed to generate video and audio at the same time.
Right, that simultaneous audio-video generation. That feels like a big deal. So different approaches, but both aiming for visuals. Do T2V and I2V still have their own sweet spots?
Oh, for sure. T2V gives you that maximum creative freedom. Perfect for pure storytelling, maybe designing a marketing campaign from zero, just brainstorming ideas visually. I2V is great when you've got existing assets. You want to animate your logo, add motion to illustrations, maybe bring old photos back to life. The input really shapes the use case.
And I'm guessing the quality of what you get out heavily depends on how good your input is, like the detail in the text.
Absolutely, especially with text to video, the clarity, the specificity, even the creativity of your text prompt, it makes a massive difference. That's why you hear about prompt engineering becoming a genuine skill. It's about learning how to communicate effectively with the AI. Some platforms are trying to help with this, like Google's Veo 3 has this flow interface. It tries to give you more structured control, like specifying camera moves or shot pacing, instead of just relying on a single text prompt.
That totally makes sense. It's not just the tool, it's how you wield it. So what's really pushing this tech forward so quickly right now?
I'd say there are three main drivers. First, just the fundamental progress in the generative models themselves. They're simply getting better visual quality, better coherence over time, more believable motion.
Which needs some serious computing power, I imagine.
Oh, enormous power. That's driver number 2. Computational resources. Training these things, running them for users. It takes fleets of top-end GPUs like NVIDIA's H100s or specialized chips like Google's TPUs. Just the training runs can cost hundreds of millions. Access to that kind of compute is a huge factor.
And they need data. lots of it.
Exactly. That's the third piece. Massive data sets are essential. Millions, sometimes billions, of videos, images, text descriptions, and the quality, the diversity of that data, and increasingly the ethics of how it was sourced, that's becoming really critical too, both for performance and avoiding things like bias.
Okay, so better models, more compute, vast data sets. Where does that leave us today? Like early 2025, what can these tools actually do reliably?
Right now, they're getting really good at making short clips. Think anywhere from a few seconds up to maybe a minute or so. The visual quality, the level of realism, the control over artistic style, it's all improving fast.
Still maybe not ready for the director's cut of a feature film, though.
Yeah, not quite yet. Keeping characters perfectly consistent, making sure scenes make sense over long durations, handling really complex interactions. That's still tough. It remains a key challenge. But a really significant leap recently is generating synchronized audio. Some models, especially Google's Veo 3, can now create relevant background sounds, effects, even dialogue that matches lip movements. That's a huge time saver for creators.
Yeah, that native audio component really does sound like a game changer. Cuts out a whole post-production step. Okay, let's dig into the actual companies. Google and OpenAI grab headlines, but you mentioned others.
Definitely. Let's start with Google Veo 3, coming out of Google DeepMind. They seem to be positioning it as a tool for, let's say, more professional storytelling, and they're plugging it right into the wider Google ecosystem cloud, other creative tools.
And using that latent diffusion tech for the joint audio and video, like you said, trained on huge data sets with Google's AI smarts and their own TPUs.
Right. And that native synced audio is probably its biggest selling point right now. Ambient sounds, effects, lip-synced dialogue. They're also pushing for a high visual quality up to 4K through the API, apparently, and focusing on realistic physics. Some comparisons suggest it might actually edge out Sora in certain physics tests.
And they've got that flow interface to tackle the control problem.
Yeah, trying to give users more fine-grained control over camera work, pacing, shot continuity, things like that. Public access seems limited to shorter clips, maybe 8 seconds via Flow, but the enterprise ATI reportedly goes longer, 30 seconds plus. So strengths are that integrated audio, the control features, high potential realism, and the Google ecosystem tie-ins.
What about the downsides, or areas still under development?
Well, the public clips are shorter than some competitors right now. Availability is initially limited US only, tied to a Gemini Ultra subscription. The reported price for that is around $249 a month, though we should say Google hasn't officially confirmed that figure in our sources. And, despite safeguards like their Synthese watermark, deepfake concerns are still there, especially with realistic video and audio. Time magazine did a test highlighting this potential. And like all current models, perfect consistency and really complex, long scenes is still tough.
And the target user seems pretty focused.
Yeah, definitely leans towards professionals. Film studios, filmmakers, storytellers who need that high-quality control and really value the integrated audio workflow.
Okay, let's switch to OpenAI Sora. That one made huge waves when it was first shown.
It really did. Sora's reputation is built on stunning visual fidelity and its knack for simulating physics pretty convincingly. It uses that diffusion transformer model we talked about with the space-time patches.
So its key strengths are that visual quality, the coherence within a single clip, handling tricky scenes, multiple characters, believable physics.
Exactly. And it's flexible on input text, image, even video to start with, then you can modify or extend it. OpenAI has also built in some editing tools, remix, recut, blend, loop, right into the platform for tweaking things after generation.
But how you get access depends on your ChatGPT plan.
That's right. If you're on ChatGPT Pro, that's the $200 a month tier, you can generate up to 20-second clips at 1080p. ChatGPT Plus, the $20 a month one, gets you 10-second clips at 720p. So strengths: high visual quality, good physics sim, flexible inputs, those editing tools, and it had broader public access initially than Veo 3.
So the big contrast with Veo 3 is really the sound.
That's the main one, yeah. Sora generates silent videos. You have to add all the sound yourself later in post-production. That's a pretty significant workflow difference compared to Veo 3's all-in-one approach. It can also still sometimes struggle with keeping characters or objects perfectly consistent over longer stretches. And while its physics are good, some head-to-head comparisons rate Veo 3's as maybe slightly better in some cases.
Who's Sora really for them?
Given the ChatGPT access route, it feels like a broader audience. Content creators generally, designers, maybe filmmakers using it for quick prototypes or just exploring creative ideas.
Okay, so beyond these two giants, who else should we be aware of in this space?
Oh, there are quite a few few interesting players. Runway is definitely a major one. They have Gen 3 Alpha, Gen 4 Turbo models. It's part of a bigger suite they call AI Magic Tools. They've got a strong focus on image to video, especially with Gen 4, which is designed for character consistency and even generating different camera angles from one image.
And they offer lots of controls too, right? Like a director mode.
Exactly. Things like director mode, motion brush, aiming for detailed creative control. They also have a solid API for developers. Like Sora, though, their main models don't do native audio generation right now. They use a credit system for pricing alongside subscriptions, and they target creators, marketers, businesses who need a pretty comprehensive video toolkit.
I've heard a lot about Pika Labs, often linked with Discord.
Yeah, Pika got known for being fast and easy to use, initially big on Discord, great for banging out quick drafts or social media clips. They have features like changing specific regions, lip sync, some basic sound effects. Clips are shorter, like up to 10 seconds.
Nice.
But generally, the realism and overall quality aren't quite at the level of Sora or Veo 3. It's more about speed and accessibility. They have a freemium model targeting individuals, small businesses, social media folks who need quick turnaround.
How about Luma Labs' Dream Machine?
Luma Dream Machine got a lot of attention for its motion quality. Really realistic movement, good physics, often quite cinematic, think. Atmospheric wide shots, slow zooms, that kind of thing. It's also pretty quick, like 120 frames in roughly 120 seconds. And it does a good job keeping characters consistent within a single clip. But again, silent output. And maintaining consistency between different shots of the same character can still be hit or miss. There's a free plan with a watermark. It seems aimed at creators, artists, filmmakers looking for those really visually striking, atmospheric moments.
And Adobe. They must be leveraging their huge creative cloud base.
Absolutely. Adobe's big play with Firefly Video is commercial safety. They specifically trained it on Adobe stock, licensed content, and public domain stuff. That's a huge selling point for businesses worried about copyright headaches. And yes, it's designed to fit smoothly into the Creative Cloud workflow.
So that's a different kind of competitive advantage. Less about raw tech, more about legal safety and ecosystem lock-in.
Precisely. You can generate from text or by providing a couple of keyframe images. They offer pretty advanced creative controls over camera angles, shot types. Clips are shorter currently, max 5 seconds, but at 1080p. Now, it doesn't generate ambient scene audio like Veo 3, but it does have tools for translating audio and doing lip sync for existing voice tracks. So yeah, strengths are IP safety and the Adobe ecosystem integration. Downsides might be the short clip length for now, maybe slightly lagging realism compared to the very top tier, and some early reports mentioned occasional weirdness with people or animals. They use a freemium plus tiered subscription model.
Okay, and just quickly, any others worth a mention?
Yeah, a few more maybe. HeyGen and Synthesia are big in AI avatars, mostly for corporate training or marketing videos. Pictory focuses on turning text or long-form content into videos. Stability AI is known for its open source efforts pushing realistic animation. There's Kling AI aiming for professional cinematic looks, even simulating lenses. Minimax is more beginner-friendly, quick generation. Hunyuan Video from Tencent is known for speed and lighting, good for social media.
Wow, okay. So definitely not just Google and OpenAI. It's a crowded field. And that audio gap you mentioned, Veo 3 really stands out there, doesn't it?
It really does. For a lot of video workflows, having that audio generated right alongside the visuals, synchronized, it's a massive efficiency boost. Others will likely catch up, but for now, Veo 3 has a clear edge there.
And the different approaches to creative control are interesting too. Some feel like you're directing AI, others feel more like AI is suggesting ideas.
Yeah, it reflects different philosophies, you know. Adobe Firefly, Veo 3's Flow interface, they lean towards giving the user precise, granular control, like you're the director telling the AI exactly what to do. Others, maybe like Luma Dream Machine sometimes, feel a bit more interpretive. You give it a prompt and it comes back with something potentially unexpected but visually cool, like an AI creative partner. So Sora kind of splits the difference with strong generation plus those post-gen editing tools. The industry is still figuring out that balance AI as executor versus AI as collaborator. Probably the future lies in tools that can do both.
So with all this activity, all these players, what does the actual market look like? Is this, a big deal financially?
Oh, it's not just a big deal. It's absolutely exploding. The market is booming. Projections from different research firms, they're all pointing way up. Significant, rapid growth is the consistent theme.
Give us some numbers. What kind of scale are we talking?
Okay, so the figures vary a bit depending on the source, but the trend is undeniable. One report puts the global market around, say, $534 million in 2024, but they see it soaring past $2.5 billion by 2032. That's a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR, of about 19.5%. Another projection is even more bullish, hitting $1.5 billion maybe as early as 2025, and seeing a CAGR closer to 35% between 2025 and 2033. The main point is everyone expects this market to multiply several times over in just the next few years. It's massive acceleration.
That's incredible growth. Are certain parts of the world leading this?
Yeah, interesting regional trends. Asia-Pacific actually holds the biggest revenue share right now, over 31% in 2024. Seems like very broad adoption across industries there. North America is expected to grow strongly, maybe a 20.3% CAGR, driven by its tech ecosystem and all the investment. Europe's growing too. Germany stands out with a projected 20.5% CAGR, partly thanks to government investment in AI infrastructure. Just looking at the US market, it was over $100 million back in 2023, projected to hit nearly $380 million by 2030.
So who's actually using this stuff? Where's the demand coming from?
It's incredibly broad. Marketing and advertising is a huge where. Think dynamic social media ads, personalized campaigns. One source said 44% of marketers see AI video as crucial already. Content creation, obviously. Especially for short-form video, TikTok, Reels, Shorts. It allows super fast production. Also used for prototyping in film and TV, creating assets for AR, VR, games.
And outside the creative sector?
Absolutely. Education and e-learning are using it to visualize complex ideas, make tutorials more engaging. Corporate comms, HR for training videos, onboarding, product demos. Even customer support is looking at personalized video answers for troubleshooting. And niche areas too. Real estate doing virtual tours, healthcare creating patient education videos.
The appeal seems obvious. Cutting costs, speeding things up, making video creation possible for people who maybe didn't have the skills or budget before.
Exactly that. Cost reduction, efficiency gains, accessibility. One survey found around 43% feel AI makes high-quality video creation just seamlessly possible now. Plus, there's just this massive growing demand for video content everywhere, especially personalized video. That's fueling it too.
How are the companies actually making money here? What are the business models?
We're seeing a few main approaches. Subscription tiers are very common. Think Sora via ChatGPT tiers or Runway, Adobe. Different price points get you different features, more usage. Credit-based systems are also popular. You buy credits and generating video uses them up. Runway and Adobe use this model too, often alongside subscriptions. Freemium models like Pika or Loomer offer a basic free version, maybe with watermarks or limits, then paid upgrades for more power or commercial rights. Then you have enterprise licensing and APIs, like Google offering Veo 3 through Vertex AI for big companies needing custom integration and scale. And some might offer value adds, like custom model training or dedicated support.
This idea that anyone can create video easily, this democratization. It sounds great, but does it cause problems? Could it, devalue professional skills?
That's a really important point. It's often called the democratization paradox. Lowering the barrier is fantastic for access and creativity. But yeah, it could lead to a flood of content, maybe making it harder for high-quality professional work to stand out, potentially lowering perceived value. So the platforms kind of have to walk a line. They need easy tools for the masses, but also advanced features, control, quality, reliability for the pros who need to differentiate. Things like quality control, unique stylistic capabilities, reliability, those become key differentiators for the premium PID offerings.
That leads perfectly into the investment side.
Yeah.
It's such a fast-moving area. How do companies build a lasting edge? What are the competitive moats?
Yeah, it's not just about having the coolest demo right now. Sustainable advantage, that moat comes from a few places.
Okay.
Technology leadership is obviously key. Breakthroughs in the models themselves, unique features like Veo 3's audio or superior control and editing like Adobe or Sora offer, that raw technical edge matters.
And data, still a moat, but maybe it's changing.
Exactly. The old idea of just having the biggest data set isn't quite the impenetrable moat it once was. With powerful open source or foundational models available, competitors can potentially fine-tune them effectively with smaller, smarter data sets. So the focus shifts. It's more about the type of data, the quality, how strategically you use it, maybe unique niche data, or ethically sourced licensed data for commercial safety, like Adobe's approach, or data from tons of user interactions that helps refine workflows. Investors really need to ask, does this data give a unique, sustainable advantage? Not just big data.
Access to that massive compute power seems like a really solid moat, though. Hard to replicate.
Oh, absolutely. The cost of training and running these models is just staggering. Access to the best GPUs, TPUs, and the sheer capital needed, that's a huge barrier to entry. And those strategic partnerships with cloud giants, OpenAI, with Microsoft, Google using its own cloud, that's a critical piece of their competitive strength.
What about integrating into existing platforms, like Adobe Creative Cloud?
Huge mode. Distribution and ecosystem integration. If you're already part of Adobe CC or the Google Workspace or Microsoft 365, you instantly have access to millions of users. Much lower customer acquisition cost. You leverage existing workflows people are used to. And once businesses integrate a tool deeply, especially at the enterprise level, switching costs become high. It's hard to rip out and replace.
Brand reputation too, right? Especially around trust and safety in video.
Hugely important. And becoming more so. When a company like Adobe markets itself as commercially safe, that builds trust, particularly with larger businesses worried about lawsuits. Increasingly, a company's ethical stance, their commitment to responsible AI. Investors see that as reducing risk, legal risk, reputational risk. Which brings us squarely to the ethical side of things. Investors have to be looking closely at this, given the potential downsides.
What are the biggest ethical red flags in AI video?
Several keep coming up in the sources. Misinformation, deepfakes, that's a major one. Highly realistic video makes it easier to create convincing fakes. That Time magazine test with Veo 3 creating plausible but sensitive conflict scenarios really drove this home. Bias is another concern. If the training data is skewed, the AI can perpetuate or even amplify those biases, like the Veo 3 model card mentioning a default towards lighter skin tones if not specified. Copyright infringement is a massive legal risk. Training on copyrighted material without licenses. We're seeing lawsuits against AI music tools like Suno and Udio, serving as a warning for video, and of course the whole debate around job displacement for human creators.
So what are companies actually doing about these risks? What safeguards are in place?
There's a range of things. Watermarking techniques like Google's SynthID aim to invisibly tag AI content, though how robust they are is still debated. Content moderation systems try to filter prompts and block generation of harmful outputs. Using ethically sourced, properly licensed training data, like Adobe's strategy, is key for avoiding copyright battles and reducing bias. Transparency, being clear when content is AI generated, is important, and rigorous internal testing, sometimes called red teaming, to proactively find and fix potential misuses before release.
And this isn't just PR, right? This directly impacts how investors view these companies.
Absolutely. It's becoming a core part of due diligence. Companies that are open about the risks and demonstrate strong ethical frameworks and safeguards, they're seen as more stable, lower-risk investments, less likely to face huge fines or brand damage down the line. You could even argue there's an emerging ethical premium tools that are demonstrably safer and compliant, might command higher prices and win more business in cautious sectors.
How's the venture capital scene looking? Are VCs pouring money into this?
Yes, definitely. It's part of the broader AI funding boom. Billions are flowing into AI startups overall, and AI video generation companies are certainly getting a slice of that.
Any specific funding examples mentioned?
Yeah, the sources noted some recent rounds. Pika Labs raised $55 million, for example. GAN.ai, which focuses on personalized business videos, got $5.25 million. Immersive Fox, working on AI digital twin tech involving video, raised $3.6 million. So investment is happening across the board, from the big model builders to more specialized application companies.
What are the VCs typically looking for when they evaluate these startups?
Well, they want to see that AI is truly core to the business, not just a bolted-on feature. Is it genuinely transformative? Founder quality, team strength, always critical. They need to see evidence that the tech actually delivers efficiency gains, that it can scale effectively. A clear path to making money is crucial, especially given the high costs involved in R&D and compute. And as we discuss, they're looking hard at those defensible competitive moats. What makes this company likely to win long-term?
Looking further out now, what kind of advancements can we realistically expect in the next few years?
Well, expect the push for visual quality and realism to just keep going. Higher resolutions like 4K becoming standard, much finer details, better lighting, textures. A huge focus will be on improving character realism and consistency. More natural movements, subtle expressions, and critically, keeping that same character looking right across multiple shots and longer scenes. And getting beyond short clips. Generating longer videos, that's a major goal. Moving from seconds or a minute to reliably generating several minutes, maybe more, while maintaining coherence. There's a lot of research happening there, exploring new model architectures.
What about creator control?
Expect that to get much better too. More intuitive ways to guide the generation, maybe even editing things in real time as they're being created. And building on what Veo 3 started, we'll definitely see more advanced audio-video sync. Complex soundscapes, dynamic sound effects generated perfectly in time with the visuals, plus integration with 3D worlds, AR, VR, making assets for those environments.
Could AI start helping with the creative process even earlier, like writing scripts?
Yeah, that's coming too. AI tools assisting with scripting, storyboarding, generating concept art, becoming more integrated into the whole pre-production workflow. And personalization at scale, tailoring video content automatically for different viewers.
Sounds amazing. But you mentioned ongoing challenges too.
Absolutely. The sheer cost of computation isn't going away overnight. Training and running these models uses immense energy, needs powerful hardware. Optimization is key, getting object and temporal consistency perfect, especially over long durations or in really complex scenes. That remains a fundamental technical challenge, even for the best models today.
And the ethical hurdles remain significant.
Definitely. Deepfakes, bias, copyright, these aren't solved problems. It requires ongoing work on detection, better ethical guidelines, more transparency from the companies, and educating users on responsible use. Finding a sustainable path to profitability is also tough, balancing the huge upfront costs with pricing models that work in a competitive market. That's a challenge for many.
Is there also a risk that everything starts to look the same? Generic AI video.
That's a valid concern. The risk of homogenization is real if everyone uses the same tools in the same way, which, ironically, might make genuine human creativity and unique artistic vision more valuable, not less. The ability to use these tools to express something truly original becomes the differentiator. And users need to develop skills too, right? Prompt engineering, understanding how to guide the AI effectively. There's still a craft to it.
So, bottom line, is the human creator getting replaced here?
The consensus in our sources seems to be not likely, not fully, not anytime soon. AI is looking much more like a powerful assistant, a productivity multiplier, a collaborative partner. Humans are still vital for that final quality check, for ethical judgment, for creative refinement, for setting the overall vision and strategy, for injecting that unique artistic spark.
So more of a human-in-the-loop kind of future.
Exactly. AI handles the grunt work, generates options, automates repetitive tasks. Humans provide the critical thinking, the emotional depth, the cultural context, the final artistic choices.
Which suggests maybe the smart investment isn't just betting on one winning model, but maybe on the tools and services that support the whole ecosystem.
That's a really interesting strategic point. Investing in the picks and shovels, the underlying tech needed by everyone. Things like specialized MLOps, platforms for video AI, companies providing high-quality, ethically sourced training data, tech for optimizing compute costs, deepfake detection services, or even platforms specifically designed to facilitate that human-AI collaboration. Those could be solid investments regardless of which specific video generator ultimately dominates.
Okay, so we've seen how AI video generation, from text to video, image to video, is really shaking up content creation. It's driven by huge leaps in AI models, computing power, and data.
Yeah, and we've looked at the different players, Google Veo 3 pushing integrated audio and control, OpenAI Sora, amazing visuals, Adobe Firefly focusing on commercial safety, Runway's tool suite, Pika speed, Luma cinematic flair, all fighting for a piece of a market that's set for explosive growth.
We also dug into the investment angle, what makes a strong competitive moat, whether it's tech, data, or ecosystem integration, and how crucial ethical development and responsible AI practices are becoming, alongside the need for viable business models, given the high costs.
And the future. It looks incredible in terms of potential realism, control, new capabilities, but those challenges around cost, consistency, ethics, they're real and persistent. It's this ongoing tension between automation and indispensable human creativity.
So as this tech keeps evolving, making it easier and faster than ever to bring visual ideas to life, here's a final thought for you to chew on. If creating almost any visual concept imaginable becomes radically simpler, what totally new kinds of visual communication might emerge? Things we haven't even thought of yet. And how might that fundamental shift change how we all understand and maybe even value reality itself?
Lots to think about. Keep exploring, keep learning. We'll see you on the next deep dive.